Hello and welcome to my sewing and DIY channel, CaitMakes. Today I am sharing my top 10 favorite dress sewing patterns listed from easiest to most difficult. If you haven't been here before, I love to share my DIYs and especially my sewing journey on this channel. I have been sewing for about 2 years and dresses are my absolute favorite thing to make. So I'm super excited to share my top 10 favorites with you guys. These range from super beginner friendly to intermediate to advanced level. I'll tell you as I go along. I have made every single one of these and will share my firsthand experience with making them, tell you how difficult it was. I'll share the pattern with you and then show you how my version turned out with clips of me wearing it and just talk a little bit about my experience making it. For each of these, I will of course link the pattern that I used down in the description of this video. And if I have a corresponding YouTube video of me making it, then I will link that down there as well for you to watch. So now that you know what you're in for, let's get into this list. First on my list is probably the easiest dress I've ever made and one of my absolute favorites. This is the graduation dress by my Ardour. I will recommend this over and over again for beginners. I love the design of this dress. The neckline itself is so beautiful and special, and it's really so easy to complete. It's just 2 panels of fabric, and then you finish everything off with bias binding, which you can buy pre-made, and both of the ones that I have made have ended up fitting like a glove and I think are such special pieces in my wardrobe. I still want to make more versions of this dress just because it is so good. All you'll need for it is some nice 4-way stretch fabric and bias binding. You can make bias binding yourself, but if you're a beginner, you can get on Amazon, get a roll of it for like $8 or something that will last you forever. Something that I haven't tried yet, but that I do really want to try is also just making this as a tank top because the upper part is so beautiful. I really think you could just cut it off and make a tank top out of this and it would become like your new favorite basic, or at least become my new favorite basic tank top. So that's on my list to do as well. If you try it out first, let me know how it goes. Number 2 on my list is the Bubble Frock by Lydia and Naomi. This is one that I have talked about multiple times on my channel and one that I will probably be making new versions of indefinitely, forever. I love it. It is also very beginner friendly. This one does have a zipper. For this one, you're not going to want to stretch fabric. You're going to want some sort of knit. I've made it twice, once as a top, which she has instructions for in the pattern. You don't have to do any extra legwork on that. And I made it in a like synthetic blend, thrifted black fabric that was a bit thicker. I do really like the way that one looks because the fabric has some stiffness to it. It really helps the bubble feature and helps the bottom tier really like puff out. So you can really make it in any non-stretch fabric, but I think something with a little more stiffness and weight to it gives it a really fun look. The other way that I made it was as a dress, and I did this out of a quilted velvet fabric. Again, pretty thick and definitely gives it a lot of structure, which I think is really fun for this look. The next way I want to make it though is in a more like everyday fabric, probably a cotton or cotton blend, something that is just a bit flowier. As you can see for both of my versions, I didn't do the scalloped edge that she has, but I think that's a really cute detail. I've seen a lot of really fun versions of this with stripes, people doing some really fun things with how you can use the directions of the stripes, but I really think the possibilities are endless with this particular design. You can easily make this a formal dress or it can be an everyday dress. Love it. You'll get a ton of use out of it. I know I have and will continue to. So that is recommendation number 2. Number 3 on my favorite dress patterns list is this Kiana Bonollo mini dress pattern and corset pattern. I haven't made it as a corset yet, but I think it would be super cute like that as well. I made this one to replicate the Sabrina Carpenter espresso dress, and I absolutely love how it turned out. I did it in a white and blue denim, which is probably about as thick of a fabric as you want to use for this. I do think in her pattern recommendations, it says that you can use something with a bit of stretch. I think you can make this in just about any fabric. I think the main recommendation for stretch was if you needed a bit more room in the bust, but it turned out great for me. I thought it was really true to size and definitely super beginner friendly. This one, like the graduation dress, is not lined at all. I should probably note that the Bubble Frock is lined just for the upper part, but I think this has a lot of potential. I love that it's 2 for the price of 1 and you can get a full dress or do a corset. If you're in need of a cute summer dress or a bodycon dress of some kind, this is the one. Next on our list is the dress that I am wearing. This is the brand new pattern by Lydia Naomi called the Daisy Frock. I was a pattern tester for this one, so I'm very grateful to have gotten my hands on it super early. I love it. It is crazy beginner friendly, so simple, and I think the design is so fun and beautiful. I can't wait to see how everyone interprets it themselves. It definitely has a bit of a cottagecore vibe, but it's also just a great staple summer dress. And I think there are a lot of ways that you can be really creative with it, which is super fun. There are two places where you need some sort of straps to tie, and in the pattern she shows you how to make them yourself. For me, I decided to use some fun contrasting ribbon, and I think that that gave it a really fun touch. Something that I think would be really fun is adding more detail to the bottom little peplum bit. You could easily add some fancy stitching or bias binding or lace to the bottom of that, and I think that it would be even more special and even more fun. I think it's just a great pattern for beginners. The sewing involved in this is super simple. Definitely recommend it as one of your first projects if you're a beginner, or just for any skill level, because I had a great time making it and think that it's such a fun one to play around with. So I'll definitely be making this one again also. You may notice throughout this video that there is a theme that I really love Lydia Naomi patterns. So sorry that there are multiple of hers, but I love them. Next up on the list is another Lydia Naomi dress. This is one of the first dresses that I ever made. This is the Dream Frock pattern. It's a milkmaid style dress, and it's super simple to make. This one is fully lined. I have hacked this pattern in multiple ways, and I have seen other people hack it in a million ways. It's a really fun base pattern to own and to have and to work off of, because if you just make it how it is, it's beautiful, but there are also so many fun things that you can easily do to it to make it your own and to make it even more special. And if I haven't said it already, Lydia Naomi's instructions and videos are always just top-notch, super beginner friendly, and make everything really simple. So, love this one. Next up is the first dress pattern that I ever used, and one that I have used many times since then. This is the Isila dress by Patterns by PatternCos. I've spoken about this one before. I will say that this is a beginner-friendly dress except for the sleeves. The caveat is that I have never accomplished the sleeves. I only tried once, and that was when it was my first project, and it just seemed too overwhelming and I didn't give it a go. So I really need to try them again, more experienced, and see how it goes. But overall, as a base pattern, I would say definitely beginner friendly. Those sleeves are optional. There is a view B of this dress too, which looks like a lot of fun that I really want to try. I definitely think that this would be more intermediate level, but I haven't tried it yet, so I'm not sure. But this princess seam look is just classic. It is a great base pattern to have on hand. You can make so many different kinds of dresses if you just have this base to work off of. I'll show you some of the ones that I have created from it. It's one of those things that you can just make fit like a glove and feel really beautiful and flattering and very timeless. You will always be happy that you had a pattern like that on hand, so really recommend that. Number 7 on the list is the Confetti Frock by Lydia Naomi. I love this dress. I have gotten so much wear out of it. Definitely recommend this pattern. I would say it is on the beginner side. I would go beginner to intermediate, but around the same difficulty as doing the Dream Frock. The puff sleeves on this are so puffy and make me so happy. They're so fun. There's also multiple variations of this dress that she provides in her pattern, and then there's of course lots of ways to hack it as well. My version, I decided to add a drop waist. A bit ahead of schedule, I would say. Before the drop waist were absolutely everywhere. I've always loved that look. I feel like it gives it a real like whimsical vibe. So I changed the bottom half of it to have that drop waist, and then I just did a gathered skirt. But the pattern itself has multiple options where you can do the sleeves or without sleeves, and multiple skirt options. And yeah, it's just a beautiful design. I love the tie front. It's a really good one if you have issues with like bust fitting. I think this one's kind of adjustable in that way, so there's a lot more like wiggle room if you have a larger bust, I would say. I used a viscose fabric, and I really need to use that fabric more. I love the way it feels. It's so soft. Love that it's eco-friendly, and it has a beautiful drape. Another one that you can make in any non-stretch fabric. You can do it in a cotton to make it a little more summery. You could do it in something a bit thicker for fall. There are just tons of options, but I think it's a really special dress with really sweet details. One of my most worn and all-time favorite dresses I've ever made, so definitely recommend this pattern. Next up is another fairly new pattern. I was a pattern tester for this one as well a couple months ago. This is the Olympia dress by Thrills and Stitches, and I just love, love, love the design of this. The drop waist dresses are very, very in right now. They're absolutely everywhere. I made it completely in cotton, and it really works as a like summer day dress. I really want to make it again in something a little silkier, in something a little bit fancier than a cotton. I think it looks the most beautiful that way. A little bit classed up, something a little bit fancier, I think is where this dress really, really shines. But really, any non-stretch fabric is going to be super beautiful in this. I definitely want to do it all as one color next time, but the color blocking was really fun. It's something that you can definitely have fun with yourself if you give it a try. I would say the difficulty for this one is intermediate and above. There are just a couple things on there that I think require a bit of finesse and a bit more experience than beginner level skills. If you really take your time, I think you could probably accomplish it even as a beginner, but I think this is just a beautiful dress design and definitely a style of dress that is much harder to get your hands on for a decent price and something that would be really nice to make yourself. Number 9 on the list is the Rose Cafe Bustier dress. I have only attempted this one once and I desperately want to do it again. This is another one that is just a really, really beautiful design. This is definitely intermediate and above skill level also. Probably the second most difficult dress I have ever made, and that is just because bust cups are difficult and in general fitting a bust area is just difficult. So on my attempt on this one, I did not do these cups perfectly, which is why I really want to do it again. But still one of my favorite patterns. I think it's so beautiful, and the only reason why mine didn't turn out perfectly was my own user error. I think it's a really easy one to hack as well, a really great one to have in your stash that you can build off of. When I did it, I made quite a few changes to everything but the bodice area. I switched out what the straps would be, made it a gathered skirt and added a tier on the bottom. I added some lace at the top. Like, I think there are just so many things you can do to this pattern to make it really individualized while still having a really beautiful base design and a pattern that you can use over and over and over again. You can also make this just as a top and it would be wonderful as well. I have seen so many beautiful versions of this dress. Some of my favorites have been the ones made in like more of a satin or silky fabric. I think it's so beautiful in a formal fabric like that. I would love to give that a try sometime. I think you can use this to make a more casual dress, or you can use a fancier fabric like that and wear it to a wedding and feel absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, definitely recommend this one. And number 10, the last one on my favorite dress patterns list, is the Loriana dress by PatternCosPatterns. This is the most difficult one on the list. I would rate it as intermediate to advanced, closer to the advanced level. I love the design itself. The neckline and the sleeves alone, I think, are so gorgeous. This would also be another one that I think would make a wonderful top as well if you didn't do the skirt. Something that I will probably do in the future because I love the top half of this dress. And similar to the Olympia dress, it has a drop waist feature, which is very in right now, and a really fun one to wear and to make. This one is definitely on the more formal side, but as always, it really depends on what fabric you use. I used a black velvet, and I definitely think that gives it a more formal touch. But who knows, if you did it in like a cotton eyelet, I think it could be a really pretty sundress as well. You could definitely turn it into something more simple depending on the type of fabric you're using. But this one just deserves all kinds of praise. This has corset detailing. There is a bunch of boning in there. The finished project looks designer. It looks very professional. It really ends up being something so special. I have said it before, but if you make this dress, you've basically made a designer dress, in my opinion. This one just will give you such a high quality result. I think it would be beautiful for proms or weddings or wedding guest outfits. For me, I'm hoping I can wear mine during the holiday season to any like holiday parties or perhaps to a wedding at some point. But definitely an all-time favorite, one that I will make over and over and over again, and that I think that you guys would love. That completes my list of my top 10 favorite dress sewing patterns ranked from easiest to most difficult. I hope you guys enjoy this list. Please let me know down below if any of these inspired you, if you want to make any of these. If you have any more questions about any of them, I'm happy to give you as much insight as I can. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, do all of those things. It helps me out so much, and I would love to have you around here more often. I post a new video every Tuesday. I cover a lot of sewing content on here, lots of beginner-friendly makes. I sprinkle in some more difficult ones here and there as well as I push myself in my own sewing journey. So if you are thinking about sewing, or if you are new to sewing, or if you've sewn forever, I hope you will join us on this channel as we chit chat about all the sewing things. Join our growing club of, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having a good time sewing club. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.